Hi everyone, I am back with another Linda Moulton Howe reaction. I think I've said that I want to try to go do some older episodes that looked interesting. So this is an older episode. This is from April 1st, 2020. So right at the start of the pandemic, which is sort of interesting. And so the episode title is Crocodile Beings, Mandela Effect, COVID-19 updates and Q&A. So, maybe this is a little earlier in her in her sort of YouTube life. And so I'm interested to see if there are differences from how she does things now, but I'm especially interested in hearing about the crocodile beings. So you can see she has her lovely squishy faced cat who's, it's like one of those so like ugly it's cute kind of things. Yeah, so let's go ahead and see what Linda has to say.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Linda.
I got Fluffy tonight
Aww.
because he was playing with good old Chocolate, and they ran downstairs, and I thought, wow, they're going to continue to be running after each other, and a bug came skittering across the floor. It's becoming spring, and this stopped this little clown in his tracks. Mm-hmm. That insect stopped him, and that's why he's here.
Aww.
And I thought,
the cat is so
there
funny.
is something now
so
about
it's
feeling like we're all living inside of some sort of bubble, and all praying that everything will go back to the way it was a few months ago. But are you getting the feeling that nothing will ever be the same again?
So true.
That there is something about this moment as if timelines, I said 3 or 4 shows ago, it felt then like they had exploded and everything was waiting to fall into place. And now it feels like we're on a completely new timeline. And that our every second seems to be first to worry about what's coming, and second, what is life going to be like? Quarantines may be like this for another year, off and on, not just up to May or June. And that's coming from some of the material that I'm going to share with you tonight.
Wait, so somehow Linda knew that the quarantines were going to last past May or June, which they definitely did, from some of the material that she's going to share with us tonight, which I assume means from the aliens, but, we'll see.
The concern that COVID-19 is going to be coming in cycles. So I'm going to let this precious life form down that I love so much, and I'm glad that he's in this space and not outdoor.
I feel like Linda should feature the cats more often. I mean, I feel like I've seen this one before, but I guess she has another one called Chocolate, who I haven't seen. So.
And that Chocolate will probably come in with his tail waving like he does. After my live stream last week, some of you wrote asking about my pronunciation of the anti-malarial, anti-lupus, and anti-rheumatoid arthritis drugs that President Trump thinks might help fight COVID-19. He pronounces them hydrochloroquine and chloroquine. However, since the drugs evolved from synthetic forms of quinine, I wanted to check the medical pronunciation before last week's broadcast. I do that often, going to the pronunciation videos. And I listened to a pronunciation video by pharmacist Tony Guerra, who works...
I mean, this is fine. Like, I'm glad that she's trying to pronounce it correctly, but why are we spending so much time on this?
All kinds of prescriptions. And he's at the Des Moines Area Community College.
Hydroxychloroquine, brand Plaquenil. Hydroxychloroquine, keen, okene, chloroquine, E-chloroquine,
Why?
draxychloroquine.
Okay, sorry. I hope we all agree. We don't need this pronunciation thing, so let's skip this.
I reported about last week, who drank soda mixed with chloroquine or chloroquine phosphate. They were using that chemical in their fish tank. The husband died and she was hospitalized. They thought that they were taking the same anti-malarial drug that President Trump said on TV might be a game changer in the fight against COVID-19. But without clinical trials to learn what might work and what doesn't, the husband's death was a warning to not take any anti-malarials without a prescription from a medical doctor.
Wow, Linda, I was really worried, but you were sounding like maybe you're being a reasonable person about this, because yes, please do not take fish tank cleaner or whatever because you think it might be helpful against COVID. I feel like we've already learned this lesson, I hope, but anyway, thanks, Linda.
Adding some support for using the anti-malarials as treatment, France decided this week to permit.
Oof, okay, maybe I might try skipping to something that looks like the crocodile beings, because it is 2025. This is taking me back to a really stressful time that we all, I think, experienced that I don't want to relive. This is April 1st. This is basically less than a month into COVID-19 even being a thing in the US. So clearly, people are panicking, people are having all kinds of theories and etc., and let's see if we can find some crocodile aliens. Okay, blah, blah, blah. This all looks like COVID-19 stuff. Is this an alien? Nope, this is more COVID-19. Silent infections. I'm sorry. I did think this was going to be more crocodile aliens than COVID, but I guess because of the time in question, I'm sure COVID is, people are really fixating. Okay, what is this? Some kind of map with something. Let's see what Linda's saying.
Strange bubbles. With the idea that maybe it will make a difference on other people living around you, and even people that are in other cities that are your loved ones.
Okay,
Meanwhile, in spite of all of this that's happening, and that is so difficult, mysterious noises continue.
Okay, so it feels like we're on a good track now. Let's talk about mysterious noises.
To be reported without explanation. On Monday night, March 30th, this week, at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Time in Philadelphia, there was an explosive boom sound.
Okay.
In Ivyland, Warrington, and Warminster, Pennsylvania, 30 miles north of downtown Philadelphia. My daughter, Laura Howe Mead, and her family live in Ivyland. Laura left me a voicemail. Mom, we just had a huge boom here. And my 5-year-old granddaughter, Hannah, recorded, Mom, the boom shook the house.
Okay.
I called them back and recorded my conversation, first with Hannah, then Laura, and then her husband, John.
Are we going to hear the recordings?
I heard a big boom.
Did you feel anything?
Yeah, it shook the house. It scared Mommy, and we both scared each other.
Yeah, sounds
Mommy,
scary.
What did you hear and feel?
Yeah, I was laying in bed, and it sounded like the house exploded next door to us. Exploded either behind me or above us. It was so loud, you felt it inside you. I jumped out of bed.
And then what did you do when you jumped out?
Hannah and I ran into each other in the hallway and scared each other. We ran right into each other. Then we both screamed.
Okay, sounds scary.
Next door. Loud boom. What was that?
I was on the couch watching that movie, And all of a sudden I felt this big bang.
Okay, there's a bang. Let's I'm gonna pause for a second and see if I can go look up and see if there are any news reports on this. Okay, so I searched for a decent amount of time and I could not find anything about an explosion in this area in March 2020. So who knows?
It felt like it came from down, up, like a bomb feeling from underneath. Shook the whole house. I don't know what that was. And then on Facebook, asking anybody if they heard like a big boom.
Oh, looks like from this comment someone said it was maybe a transformer?
What I was told, it was a transformer. I don't think it was a transformer.
Why?
We would have heard sirens, cops. I don't know.
Maybe.
It was pretty scary.
The
sounds
strange,
reasonable.
loud booms, metallic scrapings, choruses of trumpets since at least
Choruses
2011.
of trumpets?
They are such a persistent mystery. And I hope that any of you who are hearing someplace and maybe haven't recorded yet, or you think it's not going to be easy to record, go ahead and try. If you're hearing any of these penetrating sounds that you can't identify.
So booms, metallic scraping sounds, and choruses of what? Horns or something? Okay, if you're hearing any of those, record them. I guess that sounds fine. Maybe you should do that.
Let me know by emailing me at earthfiles.
Also, maybe
at
contact your
earthfiles.com.
non-emergency services
think
line.
of a reporter who files news about the earth. Earthfiles at earthfiles.com. Hopefully, you all will keep your cell phones handy to video these strange sounds wherever they might occur, and to record unexplained aerial phenomena in the skies. I bring this up because I have gotten probably half a dozen emails from different parts of the world just in the last approximately 10 days. I'm going to read you just one to give you an idea, because what I'm going to read from Germany.
To give you an idea that you can email Linda probably literally anything, and she will take it very seriously.
Been getting videos from the United States, from England, that are very similar. And I would love to know if any of you out there, even people in the whistleblower category, have any idea what this relates to. Okay. Dear Linda, I just would like to report to you that presently something very strange is going on in Germany. Every evening between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m., I walk with my dog in rural fields. Every night, I observe many strange lights in the sky. They look like satellites with the brightness of Venus, but they can alter the brightness right in front of me and sometimes vanish while I'm observing. Some lights fly a regular trajectory, some fly zigzag, and some in a kind of formation of three. Now,
they look like satellites, albeit clearly they're behaving in unusual ways that satellites don't usually, but I mean, Occam's razor, this thing.
I have something very similar. In fact, somebody has sent me video. They said that it was very faint, and it is, but it shows pairs of lights in the sky. And this was one particular video that came from Washington State, another from Colorado. The videos are difficult to show because they're not very clear. But the question that everybody is raising and seeing some of these videos, even though they're not very good, is why in these various parts of the world, in the United States and Germany and England, would there be any pairs of lights that are moving, brightening, dimming? And if we are back...
Linda, I mean, I am not an expert, but I feel like an expert would probably come up with so many things that could fit that category. So many things. Just the world of like reality and like physical reality as we know it can probably offer so many potential explanations.
The issue of drones, what are the drones doing? Especially at a time.
Like you literally just said it. It could be drones. People have drones now. They play around with them. They fly them around. What are the drones doing? I don't know. They could be official drones of some kind from some government, or they could be just people who have them and are playing around with them. Maybe they're not doing anything in particular. Linda, you just offered an explanation.
Where in all of these countries, we are all engulfed in fighting the horrible COVID-19, and everybody is supposed to be indoors. Who or what would be behind pairings of...
I mean, y'all, I think even at the height of COVID, people were still walking around in fields at night. Like, I mean, it's about not being close to other people, but like, I remember during the early stages of COVID, like, I remember going and taking walks outside, you know, just like not getting close to other people. But so I don't see why you couldn't take your drone out to a field and play around with it.
It's pulsing of lights, flashing of lights, dimming of lights, and
In fact, I was at a music festival one time and I saw like some really, really amazing drone light shows that were just like mind-blowing and so cool, just like these really complex images and stuff. So yeah, it seems totally possible.
I got a call from Alex Peterson in Hagler, Nebraska, who worked with me on the drones in Colorado and in Nebraska. And he said last night, Linda, I'm calling you because I've got what is clearly over my ranch. Nobody else lives there. It's his ranch. And he said it was a red, green, and white lights, and it was clearly some kind of a drone. Plane? And I just wanted to share while it was fresh.
I mean, isn't that right? Don't planes usually have like red and green lights at least, and maybe one other? I don't know. I should ask someone, but yeah.
They're happening in the sky that raise the questions. Who would be behind if it's drone activity or what? And what would be being monitored? So, again, use your cell phones, use video.
Again, like, I agree with her. Like, if you're seeing weird stuff, like, take a video of it. You know, I don't want to dampen her spirit here, you know, because I think it is good to be curious about things. But I also think that, you know, be curious about things and, you know, maybe look for explanations in the world of reality that we should all be sharing.
But I just want to make one really sincere
They could never
appeal.
make me hate you, though. You're so adorable.
Use a tripod so that your camera, whatever the situation, that the frame stays steady so that the motion in the frame we know is not the camera moving. That would be a wonderful help. So now, Peggy, let's dive into questions.
Okay. Oh, we're already going into questions.
This first question came from Jeannie K. She said,
"Wait, this is Peggy. This isn't Steve and her current usual guy. So interesting. And also, I am a little upset that we're already diving into questions because this is usually not my favorite part."
A question via email, and she would like to know, what does a typical day look like for Linda as a researcher?
Oh, yeah,
Well,
I
I'll
know.
tell you the first thing that happens every morning at 7 a.m. is that white clown, Fluffy, he comes usually right onto my back, and he is like an alarm clock, and he has a certain meow, and it's get up, get up, get up. And
Linda,
when
you're so
I
cute.
get up, the first thing now that I do, didn't always used to be like this, it's COVID, the COVID era. I guess that's what we're in now, the COVID era. I turn on TV to see what CNN or MSNBC are reporting around the world. And it is a very strange thing now where once upon a time, where there were so many things on calendars and you had that adrenaline that I've got to make this deadline and this deadline and this deadline, and so many conferences and so many things have been
I bet her speaking circuit was significantly
pushed off
reduced.
or canceled till next year, that I'm now concentrating on a tremendous amount of research work, possibly for a new book.
Ooh.
And when I move into that mode, it's like moving into a tunnel. I've done it 4 times with the 4 books, and I'm getting into that because I'm going to try to take.
Should I read Linda's books and do like a little like book report, book club thing? Maybe.
Advantage of this forced time from not traveling or not going anywhere on 2 projects that I'm actually working on. And because you are the people I love on this planet who come on Wednesday nights, whenever I can first make announcements about other work that I'm doing, I will tell you first. But right now, I'm in this mode of going into the tunnel. And that has been one of the big facets, I guess, of my career. I am a person who, when I concentrate, it is sort of like going into a tunnel, and I take off the phones. I don't answer phones. I can go 2 days without looking at email.
Wow.
Because when you write and when you're in that stage where you are trying to grab onto.
Linda is shaming us all with her flow state abilities. Like, I could never.
And what images and all of that. You have to work uninterrupted. And for me, it can go for 18 hours without any break.
Linda, I feel like, I'm sorry.
I
mean, Linda, I know you're excited about your subject. You're interested. Maybe you are in a flow state. But, like, I think you should stop to sleep, stop to eat. 18 hours is a lot. Like, get some rest in there. I don't know, Linda. It doesn't sound... Take care of yourself, Linda.
Now, when I'm in production, let's say on a video like Antarctica, the alien secrets beneath the ice, that was a project it took 2 years to do, and simultaneously, while I was up against really difficult things and working in what would be an editing mode, it's keeping earthfiles.com going. It was doing also Phenomenon Radio. It was doing Coast to Coast. It was doing all kinds of conferences. Last year I was on 46 airplanes. So that is a completely different.
I wish you were. I thought she was going to say 46 conferences.
Where you're balancing so many pieces all of the time, and thinking when I'm in the airplane, thinking about what I'm going to do as an intro there. When I'm working at the computer and things are coming in from all over the place, I get on average 200 to 400 emails on any sort of average day. And it's a question of going through and seeing what relates to work I'm doing, to friends, to colleagues that I'm working on projects. And so I would say that before the COVID era, I was constantly balancing a whole lot of things all of the time and having to do it around travel. And often I have thought of myself as that clown at the rodeo who comes out with the 12 sticks and he starts spinning them, and then he puts a glass plate on top, and the idea is, can he get 12 plates on the sticks before the whole thing falls down? So
okay, so what Linda means to say is to use the very often metaphor of keeping plates spinning. I didn't know that was a thing that rodeo clowns did, but I think I've seen it like mostly in the context of like restaurants, maybe. Anyway, apparently rodeo clowns do it.
For COVID, now with COVID, move into where there's more still time and less travel, and a lot of phone calls with a lot of people who email who want to share for the first time in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And this is maybe one of the best parts of being a journalist in the field of other intelligences in this universe that interact with humans. When somebody, hundreds of people, their first sentence to me is, "I have never told anyone this, but I feel I can trust you, Linda."
Oh, Linda. Yes. They can trust you to take them seriously, which I think says something maybe positive about Linda's character. She wants to believe people. She wants to make them feel listened to. But also the other side of that is that Linda believes everything these people tell her, as far as I can tell. I have actually, obviously I haven't watching her for that long. I've probably only watched I think maybe I've done four reactions at this point, and I've watched a couple other episodes on my own. I don't think I have ever heard Linda express any serious kind of skepticism about anything, any of the people that she's featured, or even the people whose comments she's talked about, at all. I've just never seen her ask a critical question. I've seen her ask for more details, but usually in the context of I'm exploring the story you're already telling me, maybe I want more detail from you about it, but not a critical question that would be trying to seriously substantiate what the person's telling me or questioning what they're telling me. I've pretty much just seen her be across the board credulous.
Is so meaningful because to have the career that I've had in journalism.
Okay, and also just again, Linda seems like a good person, a nice person, a kind person, someone who really wants to help all of these people who are having all these experiences that they're telling her about. I just don't know if I feel like she's doing them any favors in the long term by never expressing skepticism or pointing them in a different direction.
And producing, writing, directing, editing, and reporting. The one thing that I have always tried to do is to have everybody know the pressure of fact and truth is what I've always been guided by, even if it's been very difficult in subjects where governments work overtime to keep us from knowing the truth. And that on the other side of reports, whether you're dealing with animal mutilations or human abductions or crop formations or a myriad of other mysteries, are human beings who have lived sometimes with an interaction with a shadow in their room or
Sleep
beings
paralysis.
at the foot of their bed, or remember going up in a beam,
hallucinations.
and they are terrified that if they talk publicly, that the human world will attack them as being crazy or criticism. And
Listen, I think that's fair. I think that's a fear people have for a reason. And I don't think that we should be attacking people who have these experiences. I do think we should be providing them with other explanations. It's kind of funny, I was talking to a friend a while ago. So, I was saying, my girlfriend has had in the past sleep paralysis experiences. She doesn't really go through that anymore, thankfully. But I was talking to a friend about that subject, and my friend had this realization in me describing what sleep paralysis is like, right? Because sleep paralysis is remarkably consistent among people. The people who experience it tend to all experience it in very, very similar ways. And so I was describing that to my friend, and she was like, oh my God, this has actually been happening to me. you know, she's like, it happens to me mostly like when I'm sleeping on the couch, and, you know, this is what it's like. And she was like, I just thought that this happened to everyone and that this was just normal. And I did not know that it was like that sleep paralysis was a thing. So it's so interesting for me to you tell me this. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, my girlfriend says like a lot of times being overheated is a problem. Sleeping on your back also may like contribute to it, at least for her. And so my friend was like, wow, like I'm going to try some of these things to, you know, see if I can solve this problem, because it's an issue, it's scary, it's not a good experience. And so, you know, I kind of wish that these people who were having these experiences, because it does mostly seem like a lot of what Linda is doing and talking about is people who are having sleep paralysis. She talks about those kinds of experiences a lot. She doesn't talk about them in those terms necessarily, although she does mention sleep paralysis. Or they're having kind of like falling, like, you know, the kinds of like vision hallucinations that happen when you're about to fall asleep or you're just waking up, right? Which is another really common thing. And I think at least in particular for the people with sleep paralysis, right? If those people who have these stories were told like, no, actually this is a common thing that happens to people. It doesn't happen to everyone, but it's a known condition or, you know, incident that happens to humans. Something about how our brains work. Some people are more prone to it than others. Here's some factors that may contribute to it. There's all these other people in the world who are experiencing the exact same thing that you are. And we have, if not like a full explanation for it, we kind of have some idea of how it happens, and we have some idea of how you can keep it from happening to you. Because I think these are scary experiences, right, for a lot of people. And so instead of getting this information from someone like Linda, where it may be something that could solve this problem for them, make it less scary, make it less of a frightening thing in their life, make it something that maybe they can even stop from happening or stop from happening as often. Instead, if they tell that story to Linda, Linda is going to be like, oh, that's evidence of aliens. The aliens are abducting you, or they're coming into your room, or they're doing this and that. It's something supernatural, right? It's not something that's happening within you, within your body, within your brain that you can control or that you can do anything about. It's an external factor, I would call aliens aren't necessarily supernatural, but I think the way that they operate in Linda's world, they're kind of supernatural. So it's like this external supernatural factor that you have no control over, and that would be legitimately scary, right? Like if all sleep paralysis was actually aliens coming into your room and standing in the corner and being creepy, that would be really scary. That would be really scary. And if you knew you couldn't do anything about it, and it was probably going to keep happening to you, yeah, like you'd be living in this really scary, frightening world. And I just feel like it's just such a shame that there are these people having these experiences, and Linda is not helping them and is potentially making their lives like scarier and worse, because they're not actually getting help for the problem that they actually have. Anyway, that's my rant about that for the day.
Is, in many ways, was generated out of World War II, when our government decided that they had to keep UFOs and ETs at an arm's length distance from any public knowing. And one of the ways that they did that was to make it so embarrassing, ridicule about anything relating to UFO and ETs.
But like Linda, like, I mean, I think that this is fair, right? Like, I spend a lot of my time pointing out the absurdities of the people who are in this UFO believer field. But I don't think that the people who are having the kinds of experiences you're talking about with regards to like sleep paralysis related things, I don't think, like, if those people went to their doctors and told them about it, I don't think any that any informed medical professional would make fun of them. I think an informed medical professional probably have some idea of what it might be and may be able to help them. I guess maybe if you told your random friend, I guess could potentially give you a hard time about it and tease you about it a little bit. But like, I don't think most of the experiences that Linda's talking about are things that would like drive someone out of human society and make them an object of ridicule forever. I think probably if you told that story to someone, yeah, they might make fun of you, they might tell you it was a dream, or they might like tell you like, seems like something you should talk to your doctor about.
That we now, 70 years later, people are still afraid. And so, these letters, Linda, I have never told anyone this. They are powerful stories. I am working in pieces, or part of some of what I'm working on now. I do want to share them more. So out of all of this, I think you can see there is no such thing in my life, and never has been, as this day is the same as this day as this. It is all of what I've described and more, constantly changing, constantly moving, constantly trying to take a lot of information and distill it so that I can communicate it with you all here at Ancient Aliens, at other TV shows, radio, books, and earthfiles.com on the web, which I hope you all go to like you do on Wednesday nights. We've had a very interesting series going on there having to do with the maze, the web of all of the current world relationship, with the fact that we're not alone in this universe, and more high strangeness keeps evolving in astrophysical research, and yet we still sit on a planet being kept at an arm's length distance from what the truth is about our relationship as a species that was manipulated on Earth by others that have come and gone. And there's nothing that drives me more than wanting to find facts and share them with you. So thank you for asking. I will now try to focus a little more, but at least that question about what is life like and daily life for me, you can understand I have to juggle a lot.
I mean, I will say, I feel like it sounds like Linda has a fun life. Linda gets woken up by her cats. Linda spends the day like going through emails of things that she thinks are really interesting and evidence of the thing that she's the most interested in. She spends all day like she's working on whatever project, she's doing her research, she's writing, she's corresponding with colleagues. You know, she's living this like idealized life of like almost like an academic in some ways. You know, she's doing whatever research she thinks is interesting, and she gets to turn it into like little mini YouTube documentaries or her books or whatever, you know, and somehow the world supports her financially in doing all of that. Like, it does sound pretty sweet. Like, I would love to just sit around all day and like just research stuff that I particularly thought was interesting and get to write about it and all of that.
Okay, Peggy.
We have a viewer that would like to know, have you ever heard of a crocodile being that looked like a bodybuilder?
Brad and I went into a book that I have that has been drawn by a man named Chase, C-H-A-C-E. I've had it for a very long time, and I'm going to show you right now his drawings of the tall, go ahead, yes.
Oh gosh.
This is what's being asked about.
Oh gosh, this crocodile being is special. You know how like it's when there's like someone, so this was actually what I was thinking of in like the last Linda episode that I did, is like someone who is not unskilled in art. Like, they're clearly, like, trained in art to some degree, but they aren't all the way, like, beautifully proficient. Maybe they've hit a ceiling, maybe they just need to learn a little bit more, but they're, like, just good enough for you to look at something like this and be like, yeah, there's some shading, like, it looks like, the 3D object, like, you clearly kind of know what you're doing, but also this just looks weird. It's like those pictures of the alien sperm harvesting. It's like, clearly you have some illustration skills of some kind. I don't know what program you're using to do this. And, like, yes, it conveys, I think, the information that you're trying to convey, but man, it's not beautiful. It's not beautiful, exactly.
I wanted to share this because that big hulking football player like reptoid on the right has been described in some human abduction cases. The face on the left is a little bit more refined, does not come with the body specifically, but in the work that I've done, I have had people who have been taken up in beams of light, and they end up in a room and they say it looks like two lizards are standing in front of me and they are wearing white lab coats.
Lab
what
coats?
Are those lizards?
Let's just say, like, if there are aliens, why would the aliens be wearing white lab coats? Like, white lab coats are a product of, like, Western medical practice, as it evolved over centuries. Like, it's not even, like, a universal it's not like every human culture has reached a consensus that medical professionals need to wear white lab coats. It's, like, a pretty specific societal development. I mean, yeah, like, now, because of kind of the dominance of sort of, like, Western medical approaches, I guess, it is pretty, like, universal, but, like, it didn't come from, it wasn't like all human cultures, like, converged to decide that that's what they were gonna do. It's, like, from a particular tradition of medical science, from, particular places, in my understanding. Why would the aliens be wearing white lab coats? Like, why is that a thing in alien culture? I mean, like, and then, of course, like, I guess the counter argument is like, oh, like, they're wearing white lab coats because they know about us and they're, like, trying to put us at ease. But, like, if I'm seeing aliens in white lab coats, it's not putting me at ease. Like, they're still aliens. They still look like this. They still have, like, crocodile faces. Wearing a white lab coat is not helping me in that situation. I'm still going to be upset.
Which is a finer, the people who have had that experience talk about how the skin is very finely pebbled, the way you think of a lizard skin, versus the large character on the right would perhaps be more in the standing up alligator-ish kind of world, or maybe not, but is definitely reptilian. And these are the variations that people run into and draw and
How is she getting all of this out of these pictures? Like, okay, anyway.
And then when you say, do you know what the relationship is, as a person, an experiencer who has been in front of both types, do you have any idea what the relationship is between, let's say, the lizards and the alligators? And people don't have a clear distinction. So in terms of these big reptilian ones, if you go to my book, Glimpses of Other Realities, Volume 1, Facts and Eyewitnesses, I have a very large taxonomy of drawings that have been done by people going all the way back, I think, to the end of the 50s, up to...
Okay, I need to get this book. Hold on, I'm gonna search for this book. Okay, Linda Moulton Howe, Glimpses of Other Realities, is $60 in paperback. So I guess I will look for it used at some point. too much money, Linda.
When I produced that book in the 90s, none of those people knew each other or know each other. I'm the only
Did they ever watch TV?
crossing of their communications. And when you look at that taxonomy,
Did they go to your conference?
most of it is in
Did you
color,
go to a
in
speech
facts
of
and
yours?
eyewitnesses. You realize that there are definite categories of non-humans that are interacting.
Truly, Linda, could there be no other explanation than the aliens are real? Could it not be that, you know, popular culture has lots of like depictions of aliens and somehow lines up with that? Could these people already be involved in like the UFO world and be hearing about this kind of stuff? I mean, anyway, the conclusion that people are kind of coalescing around a limited number of types of aliens for the most part does not mean that there are a limited number of types of aliens and they are of these types. There's other explanations. Also, I feel like the fact that there are like new alien, like it seems to me like the whole mantis, like mantid alien thing seems like more recent. Like I feel like they probably weren't talking about the mantid aliens in like the 1970s necessarily. It seems like a more recent development. So that alone, I mean, anyway.
With humans over a long period of time. And the large football-bodied ones and the thinner, smaller lizards, they're part of that taxonomy. Okay, what about another?
I definitely want an alien taxonomy.
A lot of viewers would like to know your thoughts on the Skinwalker Ranch.
Well, I was there in August working with Prometheus Studios on the Skinwalker Ranch series that they're now doing. And I can tell you, as I was driven to the ranch for the very first time, the first thing that hit me is I'm looking at iron-rich soil everywhere.
Okay.
The hills, the bluffs, filled with iron.
Mm-hmm.
And iron can interact with magnetic fields.
Okay.
I also did research and found that in the state of Utah, going back to the 1960s, there was a discovery of molybdenum under the area of Vernal in the Uinta Basin. Mm-hmm. Now, molybdenum, we would not have DNA as we know it without molybdenum.
Okay.
It plays a crucial role in DNA.
Okay, I mean, I guess I can believe that.
Molybdenum is also used in what we would call advanced technologies.
Yeah, it's like
for
a
variety of reasons. It's very special, and it is not tremendously common on the earth. Mm-hmm. And it was fascinating for me to find that molybdenum is under Vernal. I have talked with some geophysicists about it. Do they have maps that would show how much or how deep or all of that? And in the process of just trying to find out what is the current status of any mining efforts to get the molybdenum in Vernal, and that seems unclear. It made me remember a person who worked at Martin Marietta outside of Denver, Colorado, when I lived and worked there for about 15 years. When I was married, and I was director of special projects at the CBS station in Denver, and that period. After I had produced A Strange Harvest about the animal mutilations, I got a call from an engineer working at Martin Marietta, and he said, I would like to meet with you and tell you something I think is important.
Okay.
And we talked about a number of things. Portals, he knew information about portals, but he said, back after World War II, or around World War II, up in the Rocky Mountains, at the Climax mine, it was molybdenum.
Okay.
The Climax mine is molybdenum. And we were mining all the way back. And he said, I've seen reports that there were craft of unknown origin that came over that molybdenum mine and put beams down. They were seen by eyewitnesses back in the late 40s, early 50s. And he said, one of the speculations, but it's not clear, were those craft molecularly extracting molybdenum up those beams into those craft? Why were they there? Why were they putting beams down into the molybdenum? Well, then the same question, when you jump back, Skinwalker has...
I mean, like, why would they do that? I mean, I guess it's useful for technology? Advanced technology? Anyway.
A strange place going all the way back at least 200 or 300 years, where the Utes and the Navajo, they're the ones who coined the word that meant skinwalker. That there were shape-shifting. There were the wolves that would appear and disappear. The skinwalker concept of something, today we would use the terms, seems to come from this dimension into here for a while. Maybe it looks like a wolf that grabs the head of a calf, which back in when it was the Sherman Ranch, they saw that happen. This very unusual large wolf that came and grabbed a calf by the nose, and Sherman shot a whole bunch of bullets into what he thought was this big wolf, and remembered the wolf just staring at him and walking off, and they tracked.
Again, this seems like maybe an unusual occurrence on a very mundane level, but not unthinkable that there would be a giant wolf that attacked a calf that you shot at, but it still got away.
The wolf's big tracks to a place where suddenly they just disappeared.
Yeah, it's a wolf.
So Skinwalker Ranch is a place where the anomalies are around things like beams and lights and red orbs and craft coming down where they have been seen.
And
animals
they're there for the molybdenum.
That seem to shapeshift.
But also
a number
wolves.
of phenomena that would fall into the category of a portal. Does the metal that is underground there have anything to do with why that particular Uinta Basin might be used as a portal coming in and out?
I feel like this is so, like, mundane in a way for the aliens, right? Like, if the aliens are just coming here primarily to steal our natural resources, then that makes the aliens just like every colonizer European nation that's ever existed. I mean, that's like, they're just doing a very normal, boring thing. They're coming here to steal our rare earth metals for their own uses. I want them to be doing something more exotic than that, just, because.
Other dimensions with other dimensional agendas and affecting the humans and the cattle and the other earth life that has been there. It is a very, very strange place. It feels strange.
Could be.
Being there. And the TV series that is unfolding now on Prometheus about the Skinwalker Ranch is that a lot of scientists are very interested now in doing a lot of different kinds of tests. And so, as the TV series unfolds, we should be seeing some of what they have been learning there. Another question?
Linda, I'd love to know what your thoughts on the Mandela Effect are.
Oh God, I feel like this is gonna be bad.
I will drink some water in this time of allergies.
Yeah, hydrate,
and I will
Linda.
answer.
Hydrate. Is that Dasani?
Get my notes here. I've had a lot of people over several years asked me about the Mandela Effect. I have seen some people...
Okay, also, if you don't know what the Mandela Effect is, just to say, my understanding is that it's sort of like, I think there was this period of time where people believed that Nelson Mandela had died, but he hadn't actually yet. I think he had maybe like had some kind of medical incident or something, but he like wasn't dead. He like maybe recovered, at least temporarily. He didn't actually die until many years later. So basically people are like, oh, well, I was living in a timeline in which he was already dead, but then suddenly I found myself in a world where he hadn't died yet, and therefore it's not that I simply misremembered what I had heard on the news or just made up something in my head based on the very little information I had, but actually what really happened was that my perception of whether Nelson Mandela was dead or not was correct in a different timeline. And now I have been put into this timeline where he's alive. And then ultimately he did actually die in reality. So, whatever. But people also, like, the big one people point out is, like, the Berenstain Bears. So people remember it being the Berenstain Bears, but, like, if you look at it, it's actually spelled Berenstain, like, with an A instead of an E at the end. And people are like, well, in my reality, it was always the Berenstain Bears. Like, I remember that. Like, and it's like, no, this was a set of children's books that you read when you were a child and like maybe don't remember the precise spelling of their names, and you pronounced it Berenstain anyway because, like, at least in America we are very familiar with names that end in Stein or Steen because, like, it's a common name ending from certain groups of immigrants that are prevalent here. And Stein is not as common of a spelling for that. So basically you misremembered something that happened in your childhood. But instead people are like, no, like, what happened is that I originally existed in a reality where it was spelled like this, but like now suddenly I'm in this weird reality where it's spelled a different way, this name of this children's book that I read 20 years ago. Anyway, that's my understanding of the Mandela Effect.
Universities dismiss it.
Yes, I
found some material that I thought sort of addressed both the strangeness of it, how it's described, how it got the name Mandela Effect.
Oh no, she's gonna.
And I just
I just did the whole description. Now she's gonna do one
to set the tone tonight on this. This is a article that was written in Mysterious Universe specifically by a scholar about the Mandela Effect. We might as well start with the phenomena's namesake, and that lies with the great South African anti-apartheid revolutionary, political leader, and philanthropist Nelson Mandela. It seems that a good portion of the population of this Western world believes that Mandela died while languishing in prison in the 1980s.
I didn't think people thought he had died in the 80s when he was fighting against apartheid, because he was quite visibly like the leader of South Africa for a good amount of time when I was alive, and I'm old. I didn't think people had thought he died in prison. That's even stupider, because, like, he was a very visible global presence for anyone who, like, paid any level of attention to international news for, like, a very long time. Okay, this is even dumber than I was recalling. Sorry.
Serving a 27-year sentence on charges of conspiracy to overthrow the state. In fact, while Mandela did serve his time in prison, he was eventually released, and he played a big role in world events up until he died in 2013. He died at his home from complications of a respiratory infection. Yet, this is not how many people strongly remember this at all. And there are those who are adamant, and they will argue forcefully, that Mandela did not die in that prison, and that they had even read in a history book and seen on the news what they remember. It was when paranormal research...
Oh my God. I've already said this, but this is so dumb. This is so dumb that you would think that your vague recollection of something that is probably not instrumental to your daily life is more correct and must be true, rather than maybe you just didn't pay that much attention to it and don't really know.
Fiona Broom voiced this jolting discrepancy online that plenty of people chimed in to say they seemingly misremembered the exact same thing. And from there, countless other examples came to be called a mass false memories phenomena known as the Mandela Effect.
I mean, it's also weird because this seems like some like early internet culture thing, because I feel like if this, I mean, I'm not sure when this whole thing happened, but it feels like an early internet culture thing, because like I feel like if this exact thing was happening right now, it would be, you know, it would be the realm of something like QAnon. We'd be like, these people are all being ridiculous, like this is so stupid. We wouldn't deign to give it a name. Like, it's just how... And you know that a lot of those people had never even thought about Nelson Mandela and whether or not he was alive or dead or what he even did until they like ran across this somewhere online, and now they're like, oh my gosh, I guess I thought he was dead too. And like, it's like, no, you didn't think he was dead. You had just like never even really thought about him, if at all. Maybe you barely learned about him in school. Oh, I don't know why this is making me so heated. Anyway.
They also call it mass memory discrepancy effect.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we jump to another one because I think this is really interesting. I'd heard this, and suddenly you began, as you read about the Mandela Effect, having to do with parts of a population who are adamant that whatever is the current accepted history on something,
people are adamant about
they remember it differently. A world leader who attracted talk of the Mandela Effect is former British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, who served from 1940 to 1945 during World War II, and again from 1951 to 1955, and he was most notable for boldly leading England to victory in World War II. He was seen as one of the greatest wartime leaders of the 20th century and a larger-than-life historic figure. Churchill was also well known for his bombastic speeches, which served to rally the people and are also highly quotable. But do we remember them correctly? One of Churchill's most rousing and famous speeches of all was given during the height of World War II, when he expressed his intentions to do whatever was necessary to fight what he called the Nazi scourge. You probably know the speech. It is famous for a line, quote, "We will fight them on the beaches," close quote. That is what most people remember, and which has been quoted again and again, an icon from one of the most powerful speeches of World War II. If you have been paying attention in this article, you then know that no, that is not what Churchill really said. He actually said these words, quote, "We shall fight on the beaches," leaving out, "we will fight."
Oh my god, this is even dumber than I thought. Like, I thought she was gonna say he actually said, "We will fight them somewhere else," or something even more different, but like, "We will fight them on the beaches" versus "we shall fight on the beaches." Like, that's just like not even that big of a difference. So, of course, people would make that mistake. And, you know, I'm sure it has something to do with, like, people thinking about D-Day, and obviously that happened on the beaches of Normandy, and, you know, whatever. Like, you know, this is not anything. This is some Luke, I am your father shit, right? Like, that's not actually what Darth Vader says in the movie. I don't remember the exact line, but people remember it as Luke, I am your father, and people who know the movies really well are like, no, that's not actually the quote. Do we all say, like, well, the version of The Empire Strikes Back that I watched, it said that? Like, no, we don't. We say, oh, I guess I misremembered that because it's, like, this iconic moment, and Luke, I am your father is maybe, like, a more intense way of expressing what was going on that moment, or it captures the meaning to people better, or something like that. People just latched onto that wording of it, even though it's not accurate. And we just say, yeah, people are just misremembering it because, for a lot of reasons, you know? But this is it's the same thing. It's the same thing. In fact, okay.
Them. And here is the entire section of the speech from a transcript. Quote, even though large tracts of Europe and many old and famous states have fallen or may fall into the grip of the Gestapo and all the odious apparatus of Nazi rule, we shall not flag or fall. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills.
Again, this seems like it's like, okay, I don't know the time period of the speech, but, like, it possibly was before the landing at Normandy. It kind of sounds like it just from the context. Who knows? But it does seem like something that, you know, what he's saying in the speech is that if the Nazis come here to Britain, we'll fight them all the way. Like, we'll fight them on our own land. Like, we won't stop. Like, we won't give up if they try to invade us. But people after this period in time are thinking about D-Day and the sort of opening of the front in Normandy and how that was such a big turning point in the war. And so they're translating this into that, something that maybe feels closer to them. That seems to be what's happening here. It's just like the Star Wars thing, right? It's like people are taking something that they already know and trying to, like, make it. They're just, you know, it's, and also it's such a slight difference, truly, in the wording, that there could be so many explanations for why people remember it differently. It really had, I am just shocked that anyone would find any nefarious meaning in this at all. Or supernatural, or anything. It just seems so trivial.
Never surrender. And if which I do not for a moment believe, this island or a large part of it were subjugated and starving,
this much of this Churchill speech?
Then our empire beyond the seas, armed and guarded by the British fleet, would carry on the struggle until in God's good time, the new world, with all its power and might,
India probably has some things
steps
to say
forth
about that, but all right.
to the rescue and the liberation of the old. That is the actual Winston Churchill paragraph, in which it seems a small thing, that some people
minuscule.
have argued to fistfights. He said,
those people are
we
dumb.
will fight them on the beaches. But the transcript of his original
so
speech
deeply stupid.
is
I can't.
not. It could be that some people talked with Winston Churchill and he was talking about the speech, or he talked after, and maybe
It doesn't
he
even
said,
need
we
to
will
be that.
fight them. And maybe there's a legitimate and logical reason for why some people remembered them and the true speech didn't have the word them. But the big box of why the Mandela Effect has come into the whole issue of UFOs and ETs and world history and everything. If there have been other intelligences who have been influencing and behind the scenes, manipulating all kinds of affairs on our planet for maybe 270 million years, then what about changing timelines? There are whistleblowers who say that one of the instruments of war out there in this universe, it has nothing to do with bullets. It has to do with manipulating timelines. And if manipulating timelines is something that other advanced intelligences, not Homo sapien, have been able...
If this is your evidence for the manipulation of timelines, you are stupid. You are stupid, and I hate to say that, Linda, but this is so dumb.
And they do it in conflict with each other. And we poor Homo sapiens sapien on the surface of Earth are the ones who are left out of all of this. But we are the ones who see, we are the ones who hear, we are the ones who live the surface life of Earth, while other forces are apparently underground in other planets and beyond. Mm-hmm. So it is we humans who may legitimately have had one experience, seen one event. And
Linda, if you had better evidence for this, then maybe I would be inclined to think it was even interesting. I mean, I don't believe this is real. I could never be convinced that it was real, at least not by any evidence that you have, but literally that Winston Churchill speech and the Nelson Mandela thing are the only pieces of evidence you're providing me right now. And then you're saying that this may be signs that this is some kind of phenomenon that is real and connected to UFOs? No, try harder. Give me something else.
Do other intelligences have the ability and the power to change, splice, insert for reasons that have to do with their geopolitical, territorial conflicts with other advanced intelligences, events on Earth? We don't have an answer.
Yeah, because we don't know anything.
At this point, I do not see how Homo sapiens sapien could ever prove such a time manipulation.
Yeah.
But there are people in physics who have told me that, yes, they have been involved in time manipulation experiments. So we come...
I mean, again, I feel like the conversation about whether this is even possible within the constraints of our universe is one thing. And then the conversation about how would you get from there to the fact that the aliens are using it on us is a whole other thing. And also then there's this no evidence of any kind that anything like this has ever happened. There isn't even a case that she's pointing out of people, this group of people adamantly remembers that aliens came to Earth and they met the president, and everyone else thinks that they're crazy, but there's thousands of these people who have this very detailed memory that they can recall. That, I still wouldn't believe it was true, but that would be a thing? That we would have to explain somehow? But she has nothing. I feel like that's my Norman Desmond face.
Circle through all of the arguments about the Mandela Effect.
I am big. It's the pictures that got small.
Back to the same crossroads that all of us are in. We are a life form on the surface of this planet that was manipulated, brought into standing up humanoid form by intelligences that are
Again,
1,000 or more years beyond us.
No
And
evidence
what
for this.
they want, what they do with their genetic manipulations of this planet, what they do with holograms that we
Like
cannot
the
tell from the
sperm
world
theft or
around
whatever.
us, what they do with their ability to be invisible within 6 feet and you would never be able to know they were there.
Well, then how can we
And
prove that they exist?
perhaps their ultimate physical technology is that they can neutralize gravity. They can neutralize gravity down to a point source, up to a whole huge pyramid.
A pyramid!
In that physics and the ability to mix and match realities and manipulate time, you have to at least look at that big box before you completely dismiss some of the arguments in the Mandela Effect.
No, I can
There might
completely
have
dismiss
been
them quite comfortably.
Several realities simultaneously. And humans are just the humble observers who try to report without any understanding of the big, vast, huge
Okay, if we're such
box
dummy dum-dums, then we can't figure it out anyway.
that this planet and this solar system is in, from the point of view of intelligences that are 1,000 or more years advanced. So, it's another mystery. It's not a mystery. Determined.
It's nothing.
For some reason, we never seem to be able to prove, except, like this article, that Winston Churchill transcript, it is a proof. And Peggy, do we have one?
Nope. No more questions. I'm done. Gotten 50 minutes in. I don't even know how long this recording is. It's probably super, super long. And this was not the most interesting episode I've ever seen, unfortunately. It's kind of funny today. I wasn't even really planning on recording anything, but I actually went out to dinner with some friends and I was telling them about some of this UFO stuff and like, oh, it's so funny, it's interesting, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? I should go home and record an episode. I should watch an old Linda thing and maybe she'll talk about some aliens and it'll be cool and fun. And then I sat down and then I listened to this and it was, we had some good moments. I liked the pictures of the crocodile aliens. That was cool. Yeah, that was the main cool part to me. I don't know. I mean, I like the types of aliens. Like, I like the alien taxonomies and stuff, but yeah, woof. This is not my favorite. Maybe this is an argument against looking back on older Linda videos. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for being with me today. Hopefully, maybe you're listening to this in the background while you're washing dishes or something. Maybe you're not listening to it at all because, I can't even say I recommend it at this point. But yeah. Maybe maybe the next video I'll do someone else, like there's this guy, Tony Ghazi, who I saw at the Conscious Life Expo, who I really like. He does have a few videos on his channel. And, maybe let's do something different next time, because I like Linda. I think she's a good person overall, maybe unintentionally having some harmful effects, but man, this was not my favorite episode. All right. Hopefully I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.